Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is add the variation in tone. And because we have a nice tonal palette here, it's going to also help us vary the color a little bit and look really nice. So let's see. I'm going to start. Let's start with the background. I'm going to make a new layer and clip it to the background in this Photoshop technique. And let me just grab this color we have here. I'm going to use the gradation tool. Oops. Should I use gradation tool? Yeah, that's right. Sometimes I have a hard time deciding. So there's that. That looks pretty good. Actually, I like that. What I'm going to do is also add a little bit of flavor down here. The thing is, I don't want to add too much texture and noise and things. Just going to make it very subtle. Let's see if I can try to do this one way here using a custom brush. And again, I could have did this 100 different ways, you know. Oh, it's in terms of color, it's this. I just color picked this guy here that was on my color palette. And let's see if I can just soften that a little bit. Okay. So it looks pretty good. Let me drop the opacity. Oops. This one. Yeah. Oh, I already did drop the opacity. Okay. Just give it some love there. I like that. I'm going to merge that. Okay, so that's background. Now I'm going to actually work the flat, the object itself. And I'm also going to do it again on the shadow. So the obvious gradation is bottom to top. Now, for this, I'm going to use custom brush instead of the gradation tool. And that's because I want to add some noise and detail. Let's see, should I use this brush? Let's try this brush. A lot of times, you know, I just kind of try, I don't like that brush. Let's try this brush. Let's see what that looks like. I don't like that either. Let's try this square one. Oh, that looks pretty good. And I'm color picking the same color that I used before, that gray. And then what I'm going to do is see if I can get a filter. Well, let's try it this way. Yeah, you know, I'm not going to use a filter. Normally I would try to use a filter. And then I'm going to color pick this blue here. It's a nice mid-tone. Let me get the gray version of it. Drop that opacity. And then on the top, let's see if we can add the white. Okay, so it's already that color. And what I'm doing basically is just trying to, let me lower the opacity of the brush, is trying to add a gradation, but it also has texture, which is why I'm using the brush instead of the gradation tool. And then finally, use this guy. Let me try to switch brushes here. See if this helps or looks good. I'm totally experimenting right now. It's good. It doesn't. I don't like that. That edge doesn't look right. Go back to the squarey texture brush I was using. It feels okay. And put a little bit of that down here. So I like that little bit of texture and noise. And I'm going to merge all of that work there. Drop the opacity a little bit. Yeah, just to give it some variation, because what I'm going to do is render on top. Okay. And some texture. And notice also there's some color variation. Now for the shadow, I'm going to use gradation tool here. So let me bring up my gradation tool. I'm going to use smooth, a smooth, because the lights have texture, so I don't want the shadows to be smooth. You always kind of want to do the opposite treatment of what you have, light and shadow. So I'm liking that. Try a little bit here, liking that. Don't like that. And then I'm going to add this blue at the bottom. Watch this. It's going to look really nice right here. Sharp. And drop the opacity. Just play with that. Yeah, I like that. I like that. In fact, I like it a lot. I'm going to watch this. What is going on here? Okay, there. So I'm going to bring that up. Then I'm going to add a little bit of noise using, let's try this brush. I really like this brush. I use this quite a bit. I'm going to make a new layer and see if I can add a little bit of noise down there. Just a little bit. Okay. Drop the opacity. Now this is a thing that I learned in oil painting, putting a saturated thing down here. You don't have to do that. You can kind of, stick to the value, the tonal range that you have. Remember, let's look at the value observation. So when you look at the value observation, you can see that the you can strictly follow the value shapes, and that's the most important thing to get the value read. But what I'm doing is just applying some color application that I got from my own experience. So yeah, basically I'm used to saturation, so this looks good to me. Something I want to do extra. It's not necessary to make it a nice tonal study. Okay, so I got that guy. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, really. What I can do now is really begin to render. So I'm going to start to look at the halftone, the coarse shadow edges, and begin the rendering process. Basically, start to model the form and make everything really feel like it's coming into light and shadow. Okay, so let's start the rendering process. It starts at the coarse shadow. And color-wise, let's see if this, trying to find a cool brush. So color-wise, it's actually going to be the mid-tone here. Yep, it's working. Give it to 0 opacity. Oh, actually, that's too colorful. That's a little too colorful. Let me make a new layer. There you go. Because the mid-tone is where the most saturation is, so I'm going to take advantage of that. Now, your palette, if you created your own monochrome palette, it doesn't have to be this saturated. Let's look at the numeric. Okay, it's at 59 saturation, which is pretty high. So you don't have to go there. You could drop it in half and it'll still look very cool. Again, because I paint and have lots of experience with color, this is no... To me, this is like, saturation is a lot like hot sauce, spice in food. It's a lot like spicy food, right? If you're used to eating spicy food, maybe like spicy Mexican food or a Thai food or Indian food, things like that. If you're used to eating that, you like it. It's no problem. You eat more spicy food. Versus if you're not, if you don't eat a lot of spicy food, then right, a little bit of spice will be like, whoa, what's going on? So in a lot of ways, saturation is like that. Your eye is kind of used to the spice of color. Once you paint a lot traditionally, your eye will become used to the spice of color. Because traditional painting, you have to, when you buy a tube of paint, it's at almost full saturation, right? Full intensity. When you empty the tube out onto your canvas, you're going to become very used to color saturation right away. So basically I'm just going along the half tone range here with my half tone, and also hitting it with saturation because this is where it will exist. So this is my opportunity to add saturation. And yeah, I'm liking how it looks here. Again, let me try something here. Just a very sneaky trick. What I'm doing here is super sneaky. I'm just hitting it right down here at the bottom. With a little bit more color, just because I want to. I'm used to it. I want it. And again, you don't have to. Because what's really working is the tone. So watch this. Just a quick test. You'll see. Ba-boom. The tone is working. See how that coarse shadow is softening? Right? This is what our mind really is seeing, what we want to communicate. But we're doing it in the color. We're doing it with color this time, starting with monochrome. Okay, so that's the first pass at the transition tone, at the rendering with the coarse shadow. Okay, now I'm going to establish the darkest darks and just bring up the contrast a little bit. So I got the brightest bright up here. We're pretty close to it. So I'm going to start with darkening the background. I'm going to do this in a couple stages. So go ahead and clip to my background layer there. And grab this dark that I have. Use a flat gradient. Okay, and then the last pass for the background is I'm going to use a little bit of color and some edge, or excuse me, some texture with a texture brush. And again, this is not necessary at all, just something that I like to do. I'm liking that. Just merge my work. Oh yeah, much better, good. Okay, so now I got the darks in the background. Let me address what the darks, put the darkest dark in the shadow next. Okay, let's put some darks in the shadow. So I'm going to make a layer, clip it to my shadow. First, let's see how that looks. I'm going to color pick my darkest dark. Now, if we look at our reference, the darkest dark is actually in his mouth. It's the deepest, darkest crevice. Okay, so that looks okay. I'm actually not going to clip it now. What I'm going to do is unclip it and just let it run organically. That means I'm going to have to do some painting over it because I won't have the shape to rely on. But that's okay. I'm going to kind of put it on a little bit loosely at first. Also let me just give it 80% here. And then I'm going to use the airbrush to really correct the shape, because I still want the shape to be good, the drawing to be good. So right now I'm just kind of brushing it in. Oh yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that so much right now. It's looking really, really hot right now. It's really coming to life right now because the contrast is starting to pop and sizzle. I love it when it pops and sizzles like that. It's so cool. And let me see if I can get this guy here. I want that edge to read, because down here needs a little bit of love, not too much love, because I'm setting up the love I'm going to put near the eye, of course, which will be the forehead and the eye will be the focal point, or at least focal one. Down here will be a focal point, be sort of a lost focal point down here. Setting that up. That's not colored, that's more more composition. We'll talk about that, of course, in other lessons. Okay, so now I'm switching to airbrush, because what I want is I don't want that to be noisy at all. Okay, see what happened there. Okay, there we go. And actually, this is it's a bust, a plaster cast, a bust sitting on a wall. So I kind of want some of that effect. It's on the wall. So that's why I put that dark accent right here where the edge of the bust meets the wall. I'm going to lose some of that into the background there. You can always bring that back, paint it back in, which will look great as well. That's pretty much this step right here. Bumping up the contrast, putting in my dark accents there. It's a little bit of a cast shadow there, a bit of a cast shadow. Because I kind of want it to feel like it's on a wall. I don't want it to feel like it's floating in space. This is a study, but you know, the 3D space is still important. Okay, so now I'm going to do a couple passes with the light. And I'm going to do this in 2 stages. One, I'm going to do grab this light tone and kind of refine the lights in the focal point area and also down near the shadow. So let's start with that. And then I'm going to add like the finishing touches with the highlight. Might have to refine that shape. That shape is crucial to the expression of old Homer there, our friend Homer. Okay, so yeah, so now I'm going to hit some of these light planes, do it with this blocky brush. So many interesting light shapes here. You know, it's so easy to get seduced by these small shapes. Like right now, I'm like, oh, I want to spend 2 hours on this beard section. My God, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stay disciplined there. Just to review, look at that. So the value is reading. See, it's a little too bright down there. I'm going to knock that down. Okay, much better. Now let me bring this back. Now I'm going to hit it with my lightest light. See what that looks like. There it is. And I probably should go above the drawing now. There you go. And I'm going to decide where my lightest light will be, what plane. It'll be on this plane. Yeah, the forehead plane there. Excuse me, the brow plane. Forehead will also get a secondary bit of light. And watch this, I'm going to do something fun here. I'm going to lower the opacity of my brush. And see if I can do something fun here. Add a little bit of a dusty kind of glow. I like that. Just for fun there. Just for fun, a little bit, a little subtle. So now I've established my brightest bright. It's looking hot, sizzling right now. There's an interesting plane happening here. Gotta make sure that plane is reading. This plane right here. It's the top of his zygomatic arch, his cheekbone. And then what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to color pick because I don't need the full brightness. Because now my brightest bright is here. This guy is here. So now strategically, the rest of it can't be that bright. So that's pretty much it for this part of the light pass. And the last one will be to pop out this highlight. All right, the last thing I got to do is put on my final highlight. And let's see, I could do this a couple ways. God, there's so many ways to do this stuff. It's almost too many ways. So one thing that kind of gets me, okay, So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a dissolve, kind of a splash like that. I like that. What color is that? Okay. You know what? I'm going to brighten that a little bit. And then drop the saturation. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to take my texture brush, custom brush, where are you here? And then kind of do that same thing. Make sure I have the right, okay, I'm gonna, yeah. I'm really gonna go bright, 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 bright. At this point, the temperature almost doesn't matter. But just for discipline reasons, I'm gonna do it the right way. Here it is. Just add a little bit of texture and love. And this is one of the cool things about texture brush. It gets out of control. So you can kind of, there you go. Oh, well. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just add a quick filter. I'm going to test it. Filter. Blur, motion blur. See what that looks like. Just do a quick motion blur. See what, oh, that looks good. Yeah, I like that. Let's try it this way. This way. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that for some reason. I'm going to keep that. Okay, and then I'm going to use circular gradient. I'm going to drop the opacity of that, make it a little bit more subtle. Okay, it already is. On a new layer, do circular gradient because I want this to be the highlight. And then, do I have circular? No, okay, I do. So circular gradient at normal. That's my brightest bright. I'm going to change the shape a little bit, and there it is. There it is right there. I'm going to correct that shape because it's still correct that shape. Make sure it's all right. Okay. Yeah, and that's pretty much it right there, my friends. Zoom in, see what that looks like. Oh, add some nice texture. Actually, one thing I don't like is it's covering the eye a little bit. Let's get rid of that. It's covering that dark a little bit. That kind of glowy effect we just did. You want some of it to go in there, but a lot of it we don't. It's a little too noisy. Might be a little too noisy, but oh well. Oh well. I can, because now it kind of needs to go somewhere else. But I'll figure that out another time. I think the important thing is the value. Let's check the value. All right. So look at our value read. Gorgeous, right? Beautiful gradation of light to dark. Shadow has beautiful variation. Darkest dark to dark shadow. The background has a beautiful gradation with a little bit of texture. So see that? Color study, tonal study, color study. So this is how you learn painting, my friends. And that's really the whole point of this lesson, was to show you that by mixing colors the right way and thinking tonally with your colors first, that's how you master color, especially in Photoshop. You have to do this a certain way, but as long as you think tonally first, think value first, you'll get there. And then, you know, obviously once you master the blue, you know, get a warm color and then try green and so on. And I have, you know, other colors on this channel and on my website as well, where you can see how I do tonal studies with the warm color and with two colors, which obviously that's the next goal, is multiple colors. Okay, here's a look at the final image, and that's the end of this video. I want to thank you for watching. If you like this video and if you like this lesson, and if you haven't already, make sure to sign up for my free newsletter. Newsletter subscribers will get access to more exclusive contents. You'll get access to videos like this, lessons and articles that I only release to subscribers. So all you have to do is go to my website, www.drawwithchris.com, and there you can enter your email and you'll be good to go. That's all for this video. Until next time, get out there, keep drawing, and build up that mileage. Bye for now.